Today we have the most controversial content creator in Singapore.
What introduction!
You tell people we're associated with you, we get very polarizing comments as well.
I believe strongly, right? I'm the most normal person that is, and everyone else is radical. Is that not radical to suppress your voice, your God-given talents and abilities, and put it in the ground and suppress it? That's more radical to me.
Off camera, you are an incredibly nice guy. But online persona, I can see you turning it on being like aggressive. Do you think that is the way to win in content?
That's a very good question. Listen, all our influencers are sellouts, including me to a certain degree. Country is so small, they say one thing, they're cancelled, they're gone. And this spiraled into a very heavy depression. Death thoughts, hanging myself chopped up at my funeral, and I couldn't control it. I had to go to the hospital, and on the way there, I turned to my mom and I said, this is the hospital I was born in, right? I think this is the hospital I'll also die. And I genuinely believe that. I ended up not sleeping for 3 days. I burned my level cert. I drank my own pee, I tasted my dog shit, I danced my mom's nightgown, half naked. I sang. I went to cook a frog in Bedok Reservoir. Everyone around me thought I went insane, and they were right.
Today we have the most controversial content creator in Singapore.
What introduction! Now I gotta match the energy!
He has so much haters online that if I am him, I would break down emotionally every single day. And yet he's able to build $1 million business on top of all these haters. So I really want to understand, like, you built your whole brand around kindness. How are you receiving so much hate?
I think kindness is one thing, but you forget that before kindness is the word radical.
Oh, okay.
And so it's radical first, I would argue, and then kindness being one of my brands. Yeah, so well, if I had to match Joshua's energy, by the way, we're doing a combined event on 7 March. If it's released before then and you want to come for it, I think the link is somewhere. It'll be quite
Always
cool.
be plugging my
Always
Yeah.
plugging. I love it.
Always.
I love that you are the Logan Paul of Singapore.
Yeah.
That's finding every single opportunity to
Of
plug.
course! 7 March, content and conversion. You will not find a better chance like that for $20, yes? In
Yes.
a nice space. Not just that, also networking.
Oi.
But
Love
going back to the question, I think it's not standardized PR, Singapore kindness, movement kindness. And I think that's why that quote unquote hate or that sometimes that different opinions kind of come in.
Right.
It's quite fascinating to me. I think it's a mix of a variety of factors. I don't really overanalyze and overthink it. Maybe I could ask your perspectives from an impressions point of view. But if I were to break it down with my impeccable intelligence, and sometimes questionable. And I say that intentionally because that could be one reason.
Right.
Because I sometimes take on a Joker kind of extreme confident personality. And that might not I won't say rattle, but that could offend some people, or that could make people feel that I'm a bit arrogant. Possibly.
So you think people hate you because of the arrogance?
Define hate.
If we look at your comments, it's 50% people saying, oh, good job, like we love what you're doing, keep it up, and then 50% saying, oh, you're fake, why you gotta give money away? Things about being inauthentic,
Right.
things about you're super annoying. Not my words, their words, you know?
Which video do you look at?
I can't remember, but like, I think that's a general...
The general sensing you
the
get there?
general sensing, right?
Yeah.
To be honest, when we tell people we're associated with you, we get very polarizing comments as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me also, because I think even before I met Joshua in person, for example, I think he was also had, to him, the impression that he had on me was that I was very intense and aggressive in that regard. And then when I met him in person, I shook his hand, I smiled, and I thought, he said, oh, Kevin, I actually like this version of you. This version of you is different.
Yeah.
And I started out this podcast with also a more aggressive version because I was matching your energy, right? But if I speak like that normally, gently, most of the time I'm speaking like this way. Right. But I can turn it on anytime. Anytime I can turn it on if I want to.
Right.
But that's the switch that you make as a content creator, because you need to have showmanship. And if you want to talk about content, for example, right, if you do not have showmanship, if you don't symbolize and stand for something, you'll be lost in the crowd. You'll be lost in the thousands of people. And I'm not asking you to be obnoxious. I'm not asking you to be unethical, immoral, illegal. I'm not saying that. But I believe strongly that Singaporeans are not... I believe strongly, right, that I'm the most normal person that is. And everyone else is radical. To me, it's radical to live a life, standing in the MRT, going there to a job that you dislike, that you're there only because of social convention, and then pay off 80% to your loans, to your CPF, and a measly amount just so you can survive and just live by like that.
Right.
Is that not radical?
Right.
Is that not radical to suppress your voice, the voice that your God-given talents and abilities, and put it in the ground and suppress it? That's more radical to me.
Right.
So it's fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me. But okay, sorry.
You have very messiah energy of bringing words that are true,
Yeah.
but people are not ready to hear. I think that's
Yeah.
where probably the hate is coming from,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Saying things
would
like
say-
that your life, your life that you think is normal, that you've built your whole life towards,
Yeah.
is a shitty, ordinary, mediocre
Yeah.
life. I can see why people, to some extent it makes sense, but I can see
Yeah, yeah.
why that generate hate.
Perhaps so lah. But I would argue also, right, that I would argue also that because of negativity bias, sometimes you see people online being very loud. But those same people are hating on every single creator. And they're making instigative, sometimes even downright offensive comments. Not even offensive, like I don't even know the word for it. It's like just pure, it's not even constructive anymore. It's just pure like
being
evil.
haters?
Yeah,
I
right?
actually seen that. Like the same account that is commenting,
Yeah.
is commenting on other people's
Yeah.
account, and it's just all hate.
It's all it. Yeah, so they're just skeptical and cynical about life.
Okay, I don't have much audience, right? In that few that I see,
Yeah.
I see like
Vitamin C,
they're
I
kinda
mean, all the
going
random,
everywhere.
random stuff. And
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
no idea because I empathize with who is behind the screen.
Right.
Right? I would argue though that there are a lot of people that also have a very, like, I wouldn't say messianic, but they really appreciate and love what I do.
Right.
Like from the bottom of their heart, they really appreciate it. I believe there's a majority of people that just don't say it because Singaporeans are quite reserved in the way they express themselves. So you very rarely have creators openly expressing praise to other creators. We are very quick though. We have a crab mentality, right? Not CRAP, actually it's both. CRAB as well. We have a very mentality to pull someone down that is more successful than us. And it's very rare that we celebrate other people's success because we feel threatened by it.
It's your sinky spawn sinky type
Yeah,
of stuff.
correct.
Sinky Ponzi.
Yeah, sinky spawn
yeah.
sinky.
But I would argue
Right.
that there is a majority that genuinely really respects the work that I do, and either highlights it to me through gifts that they pass me, or in person on the streets when they come and take photos of me. I can sense that is not just taking a photo to laugh at when they send to their friends. It's like genuine reverence or even appreciation.
Right.
I want to go back a little bit on the part where the experience when I first met you.
Yeah.
Because when I first met you, it felt like a very different person on what I've seen on socials.
Yeah.
And I think the question is, a lot of people talk about authenticity when you're doing content, right? And I have tried to do content in a way where I am the person I am, off camera and on camera.
Yeah.
But it feels like for you, off camera, you are an incredibly nice guy. You're probably the first person that came to my house and wrote a letter to me just to appreciate, right?
Yeah.
And but online persona, I can see you turning it on, being like aggressive. Do you think that is the way to win in content?
That's a very good question. I think that impressions matter just as much as intentions in content. People don't realize this, but impressions, I would argue, the only thing that counts because intentions, like, I wish people would understand my intentions. I wish people would go in and dig deep into my story. I wish they would sit down with me, have a cup of coffee, and they realize who I really am. But the reality is that people only have that 1 minute with you. And then after that, maybe they follow you and then watch multiple videos. And the reason why perhaps comments are polarizing is because the loud ones stand out. The times when I'm arguing a point, those stick in people's mind. Because I've done, 800 plus videos, close to 1,000 videos, more than one video a day for 2 years I was building my brand. I would say 80% of them is me giving money and being soft and gentle. People don't remember that. People don't remember when I fly the homeless man from KL to Singapore. People don't remember the times where I put on my blindfold and sit on the streets and hug people. Or the times where I knelt down and speak to kids in mosques on the streets. That's not stickable. But the ones that are racing speed, the ones that perhaps I'm loud and arguing a specific point, stickable. And dramas also stickable, right? Maybe the Pokemon one recently as well. Right? There's a minor fiasco with the Pokemon thing. So, and I would argue also, right? And that's one point. Another point is that, and I'm going to come back to that, because I want to link it back to the audience. Quick tip in storytelling and also in content is people don't link it back to the audience. They tell one whole story, but they don't link it back. How can they serve them? That's one key in brand building, which we can talk about later. Okay, so I'll come back to you, stay. This is called a rehook or curiosity relook that I'm doing. But going back to this, right, is that another reason why people have polarizing views is because I'm outspoken about things. Creators in general, right, online, in Singapore especially, they're very, very, very sanitized. Very sanitized, because this reflects our culture and our culture as a whole as Singaporeans.
So is this
Yeah.
controversy, is this radical part of you? Is that intentional? Because you're describing hate, that is what
Yeah.
grabs attention.
Yeah.
You grab as much
Correct.
hate.
I
The
said
comments helps to boost the algorithm, right? Do you do it intentionally, or it's just you being who you are and
that's a very good question. So I
emphasizing
think
your beliefs?
that's a very good question. Again, I'll just close up this point and I'll get to that, right? My point is that I've seen to have more hate is because I speak about more things. So the surface area for disagreement is higher. Versus a sanitized creator that do TikTok dances or very filtered, nice, color corrected videos. They say nothing to offend anybody.
Fair.
Of course, there's no room or surface area to hate them.
Right.
Because they have no opinions. They don't stand for anything. Or rather, they stand for something, but they don't put it online. Because why? Sponsors will crucify them. And I don't rely on sponsors. That's why I can do this one. But I can fully understand if they don't do that because they rely on sponsors. And on a broad scale, Singapore law is very unfriendly towards creativity, right? So okay, so that but coming back to this, right, to answer this question, it is definitely a mix of both. I was always a campaigner from young. There are two aspects of my personality that is dual in nature. One is a very gentle, very soft-spoken. My name means gentle and lovable. Will you believe that? It's what my mom named me, Kevin. Gentle and lovable.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How
and
is
I can
Kevin
be.
gentle and lovable?
That's this thing.
Is that a Christian thing?
No, it's just a name. It's not a Christian name. It's just a name.
Okay.
It's just a name. It's origin of I don't know what, Scottish or whatever. But the point is that I don't speak. I don't turn it on at home. At home, I'm very soft spoken because my mom gets scared and my parents are completely opposite of me. I don't even watch my content because they get scared. You know what I mean? They cannot see me in that light, right? So, but that is an aspect that I have in private conversations. But I also have an aspect since young where I've always campaigned for stuff. I've always fought for stuff. I don't know whether it's ingrained, partially ingrained, and partially maybe cultural influence. Because I went to elite schools, so everyone there is like kind of outspoken in some degree. My Christian roots also influenced that quite a bit. Because the Judeo-Christian world is go out there and conquer, right? Proselytize, conquer, spread the message. So that came heavily from my upbringing as well. Because my parents were staunch Christian. I go to church every day, every week for 20 years. Same place, same hymn, amazing grace, same thing. Through Christ.
So bring me through your mind when you're thinking about a more controversial content, right? Are you thinking, hey, I have this idea that's somewhat controversial, let me go and talk about it? Or do you
Okay.
pick something that people are talking about that you know is controversial, that if you pick a side, people are going to talk about it?
Okay, so again, right, depends on your outcomes. If I strip naked today and run around, I'll get viral, it'll be controversial. But would that help my outcomes or not? No. It depends on the title of this podcast, probably something related to content scaling, right? Then I would say that it depends largely on your outcomes. For most creators, for example, their outcomes is to get as many brand deals. My point is that their point is just there to be pretty. And they don't want to get cancelled. They're afraid of anything they say. Because I have so many creators that I won't call them friends, acquaintances, right? That I don't have friends, by the way. I don't believe in friends. Nothing for that later. But yeah, I think people are not loyal to you. They're loyal to their need of you. When the need is gone, they vanish. So friends are just this intangible term that we use loosely. Loyalty is not something that. Anyway, okay, side point. Going back to them, right? They all have nice thoughts, right? They can speak, they articulate well, but they don't really show their voice on camera. They don't. They hardly say anything. They just do get ready memes, some dance content, some thirst traps, maybe some social review, not reviews, food reviews or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So, see, I'm lost in translation. Depends on outcome. So if that's the outcome, then you don't need to be controversial.
What is your process like?
No, my process is very simple.
When you talk about something controversial, what is going through your mind?
My process is very simple.
Do you have something that,
yes,
I know it's controversial, I need to speak about
Correct.
it? Or do you see a controversial topic and I pick a side to maximize views?
It is both because I'm in general a radical person. So my views are in general controversial already. That is one aspect of it. But, and this again another content strategy, to leverage on trends and linking back to your offer, I would ensure that when I trend check, it's very intentional. For example, when I see Epstein with Taman side by side in a picture, I know that I can talk about that and garner views as well as engagement and give people a different perspective. I'll do it in a respectful way. I'll do it in a way that empathizes with both sides and gives social reviews and links it back to my offer or what I'm about. That video I think got 300k views, for example. Xian Hao Tan also recently featured his wife in a game that is interesting. I broke it apart and I said, look, it's easy for me to take the popular opinion and hate on him. But I will not. And it's easy because most of you take the popular opinion to impress people that will drop you at a slight hint of inconvenience. I turn on my joker and say, yeah, just to hook them, right? And then I explain, right, that Jian Hao wants his son, I can't remember the parent company, $1 billion company, GLC holding something like that. It's a gaming thing. It's a gaming company. Like he needs to stakeholders to answer to, and so a game is a very natural direction he's going to. He may not be the main guy deciding that also, right? So I stated that. Plus I stated other points. But my point is that even when I go down routes of controversy, right, in fact I would argue that I humanize controversy. So this is what people don't realize, right? If you watch me enough, you'll understand that I have a way of humanizing and helping people see things that they don't otherwise see on the surface. Even the PLB drama also. I humanize things to a degree that people don't realize. And that comes from another secret to content is empathy. People might say that I'm eloquent, and I get a lot of comments saying that I'm eloquent. But underneath the eloquence, right, is heavy, deep, and even sometimes painful empathy. I go so intricately and intimately into people's lives and understand how they think, how they feel, how they act, that I can represent their views very well on camera. And when I do that, people will share it. Because shareability, the number one reason for that is social currency, and because you say something that they feel but they're afraid to say or they can't express it in words. And that links back to also talking head videos, because now I do consulting specifically, right, for educators, coaches, consultants, and agents. Why I choose that niche? Because talking head in that niche is the biggest leverage, and nobody knows how to use it. They don't know how to structure PEL, they don't know how to structure hooks and rehooks, they don't know how to persuade from a tonality point of view. So if we can just fix that lever, right, well, they can easily make much more money. But they aren't willing, they don't know how to do that.
Right. So I think what I'm hearing is, for most content creators in Singapore, right, the way for you to have this as a career, end of the day, is big brand deals. The best outcome is government sponsorships, right? That requires, if you were to be a brand, in order for you to get there, you kind of need to be
very sanitized.
Yeah, a little bit more sanitized.
Yes.
You cannot be going around.
There are
and,
things
and
you have
doing
told me that
crazy
you
things.
wouldn't see online.
Hey,
Which
group
my
chat
point.
should never be released.
I know.
Just saying.
I know. There are things you have told me that.
Which leads to my point, if people's group chats are leaked and their thoughts are actually out there, they'll be cancelled much worse than me.
Right.
Much worse than me. In fact, my thoughts are very balanced.
Right.
In fact, my private conversations with them, right, are not much different from online. I'm very balanced even in my team. Like, I don't gossip about people behind my back.
Right.
I say, guys, I hate gossip. I say, I don't want any single one of you to be gossiping about any single thing because it's negativity.
So for Kevin, it's a little bit different, right? Because I don't know at what point you decided that the brand deals and government sponsorships is no longer in my cards, or that's not where I want to be getting my money from, right? So then I can choose to take on the angle of, I just need to grow my business, I need more views. And in order for me to get more views, right, in order for me to grow this content pillar, I look at controversial topics. And typically, from what I see, there is a large majority that chooses a position. But Kevin can come in to give perspective on the other side, which we do very often, right? Like, we understand that, like most people, when they make certain decisions, if you were in their shoes that walk through their whole life, you can probably understand that they would have made the same decision.
Exactly.
It's a saying that every decision is rational if you're in their shoes.
Yes. Yeah. So like that, but to be able to bring that empathy online is not something that a lot of people can even do, right? Not just on a argument perspective, but also on a, I don't want to offend my future sponsorships, right? I don't want to be on the side of the least popular opinion. I can't risk that, because if I risk that, then I might risk my whole rice bowl.
Yeah, it's a trade-off,
right.
and I'm very aware.
It is very hard to. It's very easy to hate on what's popular. It is very hard to take the side of the person who's being hated. I'm like, if you think about it, he's also a human. He also has certain things in his life that made him or her do this.
Yes, and I think this is also unique in Singapore, because if you were to do this in the US, it's different because the market size is a lot bigger, right? There might be brands that is willing to take on that.
Correct.
You are special, right? My branding is on this angle. But in Singapore, when I speak to a lot of content creators that has made it, the number of brands that comes to them, you can count. right? There's only so many that you can be earning a proper income from, right? I cannot position my brand that is away from that.
Yeah.
And because you want to do your own thing, that's why
And I'll say so. So even when I was more sanitized with radical kindness initially, right, it's very hard to get sponsors also because social service agencies can't pay me, right? And it's hard to mix kindness with a brand deal also, right? So at most I get maybe a Com Asia, I get a second-hand phone, I give a migrant worker a second-hand phone, then I promote. So it seems a bit more organic.
Right.
I mean, full transparency, I made about 30 to 40K through brand sponsorships over the last 2 years, right? But that's the max capacity. My producer and co-founders behind the camera. So even for Radical Games, my sponsors pull out last minute. Right, they're supposed to pay 7 to 10K for Radical Games. Last minute they pull out, then I got to self-sponsor it. Even when I produce all these things, I pop the balloon, Radical Games, I don't get sponsored. Like thousands of dollars go out of my pocket. So I came to the point where I was frustrated. I was like, look, I loaned more than $100,000 to people, which didn't come back to me. So I was very frustrated in April last year because I'm making a decent amount of money, but I'm giving away an even bigger amount of money. Then I had to pivot, and that's where I pivoted to Radical Riches, and then eventually and Radical Age as well.
It's interesting how this didn't work, but it worked for Mr. Beast, right? Like I assume a large part of what you initially started to do was like, hey, Mr. Beast gave a homeless person $10,000.
Yeah, but
Somebody
Mr.
gave
Beast
me
is
$10,000.
extremely sanitized. Mr.
Right.
Beast has sold out long ago already. He cannot say anything remotely political at all.
No, before
He's
that,
backed out.
right? Because when you started Radical Kindness, it was a lot about showing that kindness. I'm just surprised that there weren't more brands that wanted to do this because like
yeah.
there could be more virality from it.
I think in Singapore, going back to your first question, right? We didn't answer the first question, but going back to the first question, kindness in Singapore is not shared. People are generally more skeptical and more weary of kind acts versus like overseas where someone does a kind act, right? And okay, I'll give you a great example. Like the speed one was a great example. So the speed one was that in my mind, right, I cannot fathom again, right, with my ability to read the market, with my decent ability to read the market versus other people. I did not expect people to feel so strongly against me giving 10K to speak for charity. To them, that actually offended them. I cannot understand. I can't understand why my money, which I shake somebody's hand and repeated twice to him that he needs to give it to charity, and he did not, would offend people. Because they're saying, oh no, Kevin, you should have ensured that you give charity on the spot. Or they say that, oh, you cannot use charity as a way to market your own brand. Now, they don't understand because they don't know who I am beforehand. They didn't know that my channel was about kindness, right? But incidentally, I mean, there was a fair number of people that also felt that it was a genius move, right? And even friendships were split because of me. They thought that the story I cannot share here. But point is that American media covered it, Southeast Asian media covered it also. So I remember a page on Black culture, I think. So I don't know whether I can say that. African American culture page showcase because he is Pride, right? Showcase Speed raising some guy in Singapore for 10K. That post went viral because that channel had millions of followers. Whoa! Then you see the comment section, right? When someone said that I was doing for charity, right? My God! Like everybody started to praise me. Everybody said hats off to you, salute to you. You know, and like whole comments was all positive. You know, and then when people say that no, actually it's done for charity, like to them it's like, oh wow, that's cool.
Do you think it's
They
a
don't
Singapore?
have
Do you think
they
it's a
don't they don't think so many layers like, oh, this guy try to
Yeah.
Do you think it's a Singapore only problem? Because Mr. Beast talked about something similar.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one of the things that hit me very hard when I heard about Mr. Beast podcast is
I remember that.
he has on average 200 million views per video.
Yeah.
He said, just imagine 1% of the people that hates on you. That's 2 million people that is hating on you every single day, and those are loud, right?
Yeah.
But there is that emotional burden that you bear. But I want to go on to the Singapore thing. Do you like? It's incredible that a lot of creators have shared with me that there is this thing in Singapore where you kind of don't want other people to succeed. You kind of want to pull people down, or if they are doing something that is out of the norm, it's like, what's your agenda? Like any other side agendas that you have, it's bad, right? And like we'll start
What do you
hating
think
on
is the
this.
case? I mean, from a psychograph like social point of view, obviously there are some explanations to that, right? And I think that if I were to be very not even philosophical, if I were to be very like origin about this, because phenomena happen at the origin. So when I want to analyze something, right, from a macro level, I always go back to the beginning. And the beginning of it is that Singapore was literally a tiny dot at the anus of Malaysia. Like we had nothing. We had absolutely nothing. We had raw material, maybe lack of raw material. We had people fighting over a Dutch teenager. So at one point in time, we had nothing. The only thing we had was the ability to turn foreign investment into more money. So one would argue that we just became the best. I don't want to be too vulgar here. We became the best like sellout lah. We became the best at channeling the resources for our masters. But because of that, what we sacrificed in return was our freedom. What we sacrificed in return was our vocal freedom, and what we sacrificed in return was our soul.
How is this linked to the Singaporeans?
Now, I'll link it because we had to build a socially engineered society that's very conformist in nature, that's very built around a very specific definition of success. Very specific, because we had to churn out workers that fit our master's demands in order for us to survive. So our education system, our social engineering, everything is designed, right, to have a very specific way of thinking and doing things.
So you're saying this applies even in the creator economy, who
Of course,
in and of itself is
it's
already
supposed
a
to be creative, but no.
bunch of people who is a bit more anti-social.
Yeah.
Right? They're already doing something different.
Correct.
But I think even then they are still conformists.
Of course, listen. All our influencers are sellouts, including me to a certain degree. I'm not a billionaire, and there are certain things that I don't say also. All influencers in Singapore are sellouts. It's so small. The country is so small. They say one thing, they're cancelled. They're gone.
Why
And
do you use this-
attention is so.
I'm curious, why do you use this strong word sellout?
Because it provokes, and it's true. We are so scared. We are so scared to say what we really think and mean. Isn't that not a sellout? You are basically
Okay.
you are basically saying that, look, I have to trade my freedom of speech for money, and for my bottom line.
Gotcha. Okay, so your definition, I'm not trying to argue with
What's
you,
your
but I'm trying to
definition?
understand your definition of
Definition of
sellout.
sellout,
Your
yeah.
definition of sellout is as long as for commercial purpose, you're not truly being an authentic self and
Correct.
saying the things that you believe
Yeah.
in, that's being a sellout.
You can define it as one of the ways. I mean, how else would you define sellout? It's essentially like accepting a trade-off, right? Like red pill, blue pill. You take the red pill, you get liberated. Is it the blue pill?
I mean, I would
can't
argue
remember.
there are degrees of selling. One degree is you don't say the most controversial things.
Yeah.
One degree, a higher degree, is you say things you don't believe in. Right?
think
Like
in
there are
life-
degrees to being a sellout.
I agree, but I think in life is dual.
Life is
Do or do not. There's no choice.
Okay, so now you're at this place where, because of your content, you find it radical, you find it hard to get sponsorship, which is the traditional route for most creators to
Yeah.
monetize. How do you think about how to monetize? How do you have build up a few different
Yeah.
business verticals? If I were an investor looking at, your enterprises, how do I
The
understand?
radical holding group.
Yeah, the radical groups.
Radical
Yeah.
Yeah, I think two things. So one, recently, might be hard to believe, but I got a bit listless. I lost my way a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So this
Sorry,
this
I'm
energy,
laughing because of the hard to believe part.
Yeah,
'cause
this
you're a
is
listless person as I know you.
okay. This is coming out of like me being very intense for the last 2 years building stuff, right? And so Melvin, so must give credit to him, right? He's a coach and consultant. So I call him and say, look, should I need to build sales systems or whatever? Maybe sales are not that great. Then he really looked at me and said, Kevin, your problem is not a sales system. Your problem is that you need to get your shit together. Like, you need to pick up some calls and make some calls, and just generally get your vision back again. He was like, I know the problem. The problem is that Joker has ran out of tricks. And he said Joker rather kill himself when he becomes predictable. And he said you became predictable after a while. It's like you've run out of tricks already. You've done everything that needs to be done in Singapore. You've gone blindfolded yourself. You've talked to challenged politicians. You've gone on the streets with sex workers. You have done everything. And then recently you barefoot also. What else is there to do? Strip naked? Nothing else to do really. You've literally done everything. He said, look, Singapore will suck your soul. You have to get out. You have to get out. You have to go overseas, find more inspiration, bring it back to serve your clients. Create overseas. Now, I agree and I disagree with him. I agree with him to that degree that going overseas will expand my vision. But I would also argue that I became so focused on the other extreme, the business side of things, radical age, radical riches, that I lost radical kindness. And you cannot take RK out of me because that's who I am. And because you took it out of me for temporary, right? My soul was suffering.
Could you give our audience a quick breakdown? So you have radical reaches.
okay.
Quick
Right.
one. Radical reaches is your
Okay,
radical
I give you a
kindness
break-
is your main channel
Sure.
where you do all the kindness content.
7 March. Come. 7 March. Please link in bio now. It's only $20, please.
Sorry, help the audience
I'll help them
understand like your
understand.
key business.
I'll help them
Yeah.
understand. They understand even deeper when they come on the day itself. But they understand. Basically, I started Radical Kindness first, right? So I
Okay.
grew that from 0 to about 100K combined followers, probably in 2 years, in 1+ years, and then I started Radical Perspectives first. So it's supposed to be a podcast, but no one cares about perspectives. They care about money. So halfway through, I'm sitting down on a toilet bowl at 3 a.m. and I decided, shit, Kushasa doesn't have competition. Or rather, no one is doing School of Hard Knocks style content in Singapore. And I knew intuitively that it's going to do well. I couldn't sleep at 6 a.m. I could go on AI, I created a random golden heart with wings because all my logo were heart shaped. So it's so stupid, the logo, right? But I started Radical Riches. And then within few months, it grew like 30K, 40K followers. IG and TikTok was heavily shared. And that became where I met Joshua as well. As I reached out to Joshua to interview for Radical Riches, that one also went viral. So then people pivoted, oh wait, Kevin is no longer just a crazy kindness guy, right? He has some associations with business. So I shifted branding a little bit now. And more importantly, I got in touch with people who were good at the business side. And this is a lesson I want to share, people. I sat out with Melvin, okay, when I had this in-between dilemma. He said, Kevin, you have enough creator friends already. All of them, the school's a little bit loose already. Because for you to go out there and say something and be judged by the world, right, you are a bit weird. Okay, so you don't need more creator friends. You need more business people. Now you're crazy, but you're not crazy rich yet. You're crazy broke, or whatever amount I was making. I need to make you crazy rich. You have attention, but you don't have currency. And two of them are very different skill sets. There are people with 1/10 attention making 10 times more than creators, right? Best is you have both, and now I have both. So that's why I'm making significantly more. But that pivot was very intentional. Not intentional, was me deciding that, okay, I need to pivot to Radical Riches. And then eventually, Radical Age came about. So Radical Age was the content. I started with a masterclass. You all came for the first masterclass. I didn't have upsell offer back then. I didn't know how to run offers at all. I didn't know how to turn it around. Then Melvin came in, he helped me to build it. In 6 months, we built it to multiple 6 figures and profit. But that was Radical Age. And then also a furniture business called Radical Homes, which has done 7 figures in revenue basically, right? But there's a lot of issues with that, and I'm out of that business already.
Gotcha.
Because of I don't want to elaborate, but that was because of conflict in values, and just severe conflict in values.
Right. Okay,
So,
so I'm an investor and you just made your pitch and I'm hyper confused, right?
Okay.
So you have Radical Kindness.
Please, thank you for summarizing for me.
You have Radical Kindness, which is a channel that does kindness stuff. You have Radical Edge that interviews business owners, and you have Radical Riches that interviews business owners, and Radical Edge that is your content pillar.
Sure.
Only
Not
Radical
Yeah.
content.
Is that a coaching?
Yeah,
Consulting,
content coaching consulting business. So that's the only one that's making money. The other two, one it's I would say your own the kind of thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
And Radical Riches.
So that's very good. So let me break it down the intention. Look at Ryan, for example. Ryan was crucified and bankrupted after the NOC saga.
Sorry, it was right. Oh, okay.
Right after the NOC saga, right? In a few years, he run multiple 7-figure businesses with his ID. And if you look at Overkill, right, renovation is not the only content pillar. He has lifestyle content as well. He has food stuff. He has podcasts. There's technically on the surface nothing to do with renovation. But I would argue that people convert because of two things. They convert because of value and values. Value is the business value you provide to them. One timeline that exists in your prospect's mind, before and after you. If they conclude that with you in their life, they will benefit financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, they will go for you. And they will prioritize, this goes back to the earlier point, they will prioritize financial interest over moral signaling. So I don't care if you're caught in some scandal before that. If you can help me make money, I don't give a shit. Come and help me. That's Singapore's practical nature, okay? That's why environmental stuff don't do well as a marketing thing. But going back to the point, the other reason why people buy is because of values. So between two people of the same value, they will choose one with similar values to them. Values, ethical values, what you stand for, what you stand against, and also psychographics. Okay? This is where Radical Kindness comes in. I don't do it intentionally, but I think RKS will always be a way in which I create social capital and captivate the audience to say that, look, Kevin's mission is very simple. If you look at my bio, intensely making money and gently giving away. Then I realized all my content is only two things. Either I'm intensely making money or I'm gently giving away. Sometimes intensely giving away also. but you get my point. So now I'm working towards $1 million giveaway. I'm very intentional with my pillars now. So everything would be these two things.
Sorry, so
Yeah.
if I'm a investor trying to understand how all this fits together and make money, you have radical kindness,
Yeah.
and
Kindness doesn't
radical
make money.
riches, both of which are the content, and radical kindness doesn't
Okay,
make
you
money.
would see radical riches purely as a captivation thing. I don't have no offer
Okay.
behind that. So radical riches is just pure captivation.
Right, pure
And
captivation.
also for me to tap into business owners' networks. Because when I collect posts them, I get access to their network.
Gotcha.
And those are my target audience for my brand consulting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So where you really make money is with the consulting.
Yeah.
Radical riches, radical kindness is where you generate attention and the contact and the network.
And the values to convert.
So your values comes from primarily radical kindness.
Mm.
Radical riches, not too sure yet, right? Like you have some form of networking that comes from there.
Yeah.
Might help a little bit with your coaching consulting,
Yeah.
but it's kind of in
I
limbo
stopped
right
stop
now.
creating that already.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right. So limbo / stop creating. So it's primarily only these
primarily
two.
two.
One value, one values. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Right. Bring us back to how you got started on this, right? I read your journey. You were in a kind of
when
low
I reached
point,
over 10
right?
times.
How you had your first video that went viral. When do you realize you would do this full time? When do you realize that, hey, this could be a career,
Right.
this is an asset?
Right. So I'm going to bring something that is perhaps even more radical, but if you break it down, you will understand. So I came from Victoria School, eventually went to Raffles. Yeah. So most people don't know this, but so after I went to Raffles institution, I messed up my A-levels due to a high level of anxiety. I was a type A personality, all or nothing. So when I had deep anxiety during my A-levels, I eventually ended up blank papers on math. And this spiraled into a very heavy depression. So I went to IMH, I had death thoughts, hanging myself, chopped up, and I couldn't control it. So very severe, very clear thoughts about me being chopped up at my funeral. Very gruesome stuff. So I had to go to hospital at Mount Elizabeth. I remember on the way there, right? I went to IMH first, it didn't help. So eventually I had to go to private hospital. On the way there, I turned to my mom and I said, this is the hospital I was born in, right? I think this is the hospital I also die. That's what I told her. And I genuinely believe that. So I went to Mount E. I went to the room. Psychiatrist, I went to the room. This guy was, by the time his hair wasn't that white yet, it was greyish. He was large in size, where to use a euphemism. Like a sage. And on the wall there's like a Taoist yin-yang kind of thing.
In the hospital?
No, yeah, it's his office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I sat on his office.
I wouldn't feel that's very credible.
yeah. No. It's like you just visualize it, right? And then there are files in the background. It's a small office. I sit like that, and then there was a table, and he sat over the table. I sat here. My parents sat there, right, worried stricken, so they were there sitting down. I remember very clearly what I told the doctor. I sat down. He said, "How can I help you?" I said, I'm a Christian. I shouldn't be wanting to kill myself, but I am. And I don't know what to do. So I just sat there explaining, 1 minute. He didn't say anything. He looked at me, said, don't worry, I need to hospitalize you. And after you'll be fine. I'll give you a shot, you can rest, and after you'll be fine. See, I also described to him at that point of time, right, that I couldn't control my mind anymore. Till today, that is still the scariest moment I've ever experienced in my life. I essentially became a hollow void. My soul was gone. It was like sucked out of me. So just imagine that I cannot feel love, I cannot feel pain, I cannot feel anything. It just came to a point that was so intense, thoughts couldn't sleep for 3 days, to a point that I became hollow. Like nothing. Then he explained to me this maybe a post-traumatic stress kind of reaction, and he explained something to me lah. Right, very experienced doctor. But in the end, he gave me a tranquilizer. Lorazepam, I remember the name of the medicine. Gave me a tranquilizer. And then I was sticked in at that time. 5 kg I lost. I was like 55 or 53 kg and I'm like 180. We went to hospital room. Then the nurse came and injected me. I slept. Then I woke up, right? And my leg was cramping. I think side effects of the medicine. My whole leg was cramping. I was like,
Not the fun kind of side
I was like, Then I was like, please help me. Then the nurse looked at me and was like, don't worry. She's like, her face like, lack of empathy. She's like, chill, just chill there. I got so offended, I got so frustrated. I wanted to take a knife and stab myself, I remember at that point of time. I was so angry, I was like, what the fuck? And I remember thinking at that point of time, I was 18 years old. My entire life as an elite student, as a national tennis player, as a top achiever, all that to this. I remember thinking to myself, Kevin, you are fucking pathetic. And your life will never be the same again. And that was the lowest point of my life at that point. Okay? Long story short, right? Somehow or rather, she gave me an injection. Then I slept. I woke up, I felt a bit better. I went to prom with beachwear. Because that was the pack I made with my friend. But after prom, right, it was a nightmare again. So I spent the next 3 months still nightmare, took a lot of antidepressants, antipsychotics. Eventually I transitioned from depression into mania. So when I transitioned into mania, right, you can Google it, it's a mood disorder. So certain things changed in my head. I became super high. Super high. I thought I was the savior of the world. I ended up not sleeping for 3 days, creating a 4-hour video. I burned my level cert. I drank my own pee. I tasted my dog shit. I danced my mom's nightgown, half naked. I sang. I went to cook a frog in Bedok Reservoir. Man vs. Wild segment. Everyone around me thought I went insane, including my JC friends. And they were right. And there was a girl that I was close with in JC. There was something here and there. I never really talk about it. But I remember going to MBS to say hi to her, just during manic phase. She was at the concierge. I said, hey, X. She looked at me. I'll never forget this moment. Until now, 12 years later, I'll never forget this moment. She looked at me and she pretended that I was invisible. She didn't even acknowledge me. I said her name twice. She completely ignored me. And then I walked away. Now, in hindsight, do I understand why she did that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody was scared of me at that time. Imagine now my personality, you amplify that times 10. That was mania for you. And mania is a very scary thing, by the way, because it's even more dangerous than depression, you would argue. Because mania allows you to do things, facilitates you to do things that are irreversible.
Right.
Yeah.
You can hurt others.
Yeah, hurt others. And doctors are very scared. Doctors are very scared of mania. That's why they're very afraid to give you antidepressants when you have diagnosed with bipolar before.
Right.
Yeah. In my second relapse, right, the doctors were so hesitant to give me antidepressants. Yeah, but okay, that's like 10 years later. There's another story altogether. But going back to that, I overcame it. That was my first video, by the way. That was my first video that went viral. So my YouTube channel I created at that time, right? It went like 20k views. At the whole time, 20k views was a lot. Raffles student burning A-level cert. It appeared on the one pao. It appeared on the one pao. That was so proud of it.
That is street cred.
That's really funny. So like it went there.
I'll cut the newspaper and frame
Yeah, I
it.
wish I could find it. It's
I would
archived
frame it.
forever already. I'll frame it Radical Realm. Now I'm starting a new space, right? I will frame it Radical Realm, but I can't find it. I need to go to SPH and find the archives. Pay them for the archives. I cannot find it anymore. But my mom looked at it, right? And all of them were very worried at that time. Very, very worried and concerned. Then eventually I came out of that manic state, right? Deleted my channel, went back into balance. But though that video was the first video that I did. So I always wanted to be a creator. At that point was the first time that a thought entered my head, oh, I'm going to be a YouTuber. And ironically, I suppressed that dream for 10 years after that. I came back to it 10 years after with Radical Kindness.
Right. Was it because you enjoyed the idea of creation or the attention?
It's both. So from young, I've always wanted to be famous, really. I wanted to go to Olympics. That was my first dream. So I have this propensity for influence for some reason, right? And I think that's what drew me to media. Initially with the whole mania. But ironically, right, the mania, even though that was crazy, that was the birth of my media dream. I named it Avatar We because I believe to be the savior of Singapore. And I wanted to build a more compassionate, inclusive society. It's the same vision with Radical Kindness 10 years later.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So Radical Kindness is where you come full circle of
It's come full circle.
that version of you in
After the
mania.
second relapse, which was 10 times worse than the first. The
Right.
second relapse was worse, you know why? Because I planned out my death.
Right.
I visualized 5 different ways to take my life, Overdose, myself, tying the string around myself and suffocate myself. This one need to blur it out. If not, they will flag it. Dropping myself in Bedok Reservoir, the exact spot. Jumping from a specific place, and I didn't want to hit my head because I wanted to be recognizable in the funeral. Even in death, I had ego.
Nice.
I decided that maybe I'll lay on my chest or whatever. So that was the fourth way. And then the last way is legal euthanasia. I googled, there are some countries where you can have legal euthanasia. Right. So it was worse than the second part. I took all that trauma and converted it to Radical Kindness when I came out of it. But then after I came out of that, right, and I achieved what I wanted to accomplish with Radical Kindness, I lost the purpose again. That's why Melvin said, Kevin, you've done whatever you need to do, and now you're empty again. You need to find a new goal. find a new vision.
Right.
Yeah.
I love how it came full circle. And when you started Radical Kindness, was your first video a hit? How long did it take for you before you discovered your first hit,
Okay.
the formula?
After all that, we finally go to content strategy. I hope you're still engaged, guys. Finally, I can give you some sauce that will actually benefit you and not just entertainment. I'll now crystallize the lessons and apply it to you, right? Now, you have to understand two things. Number one is that patience is necessary in content. It's not an overnight thing. But at the same time, like
So you're talking about a mindset.
mindset, yeah,
Okay.
or just in general strategy. But at the same time, you absolutely cannot use patience as a justification for bad performance. A lot of agencies do that as well. After 3 months, okay, no, we're still building on brand awareness. It's stupid. It's just downright wrong.
Why are you attacking me?
I'm attacking you. Oh yeah, just referring yourself, is it? It's wrong. The algo doesn't suck. You suck, basically.
You suck, bro.
So the thing is this is that even for RK, right, it didn't take me long to find a niche and go viral. Within a couple of videos I did the buying anything. Because all I did, okay, and this goes back to strategy, right? I mean, I have a playbook you all can download. I mean, join my Telegram channel. There is a full playbook and also a video there that breaks down content and conversion, right? But to summarize it, virality can be copied. You must understand there's no true original. Okay? Virality can be copied and adapted into your niche and personality. So you need to get good at understanding what are the content formats that work in your particular niche, real estate, FA, whatever, in my space, kindness. So I say, okay, what are the kindness influencers around the world? There's a guy wearing blindfold who giving hugs to people. There were people that are asking people for money and then buying them anything in return. I took two of the most viral kindness formats. All I did was copy directly. All I did was just copy directly. Now, of course, I'm simplifying, right? The fact of the matter is that I had 10 years in direct sales, which we missed out. So I went to build a direct sales company that had 7 figures in revenue. It's the top direct sales company and the name is called Amway. The top direct sales company in the world. I was there with them for 10 years. On the ground, getting doors slammed in my face and understanding human behavior and understanding how to relate at every level. So I took all of that and I went on the streets to do radical kindness. So it's not just a copy. I had backing from my past experiences. So I went on the streets, right, and I served people. Okay, I remember the first viral video was a helper. A helper that I asked her for money. She gave me everything she had. She took out her purse.
Can we bring up that video? Can you run through with us
Sure.
beat by beat what makes it work?
I think my phone is just you give me a phone, some phone, I'll show you. So I took it out and y'all can overlay this, right, in the edit. So, well, okay, this is a very good video. Until today, till date, funny enough, till date, right, that is still the most viral video.
Oh, nice.
That's your
I've
top
never
video?
gone above 1 million views, you know. That video has 888k. Yeah, and that video alone got me 7,000 followers. 8,000 followers. Because I attacked the niche that no one else was doing. Yeah. I just copied word from, like, directly. But with my own personality. Yeah. So again, on TikTok.
Oh, on
Yeah.
TikTok.
See, radical kindness, 12k on Instagram, 90k on TikTok. That's testament to kindness being shared. Nobody shares kindness on IG. Because nobody wants to be seen as performative. When in fact, ironically, all of them are. Okay.
I love
let's look at
that
this.
all your content strat is linked to your personal philosophy.
Congruency. It's not an act. Okay, let's look at this.
Yeah, you could break it down beat by beat.
Let's
First
break
of
it
all, how
Okay.
do you come up with this content idea?
Okay, so I say.
How do you choose a who?
Sure. So I already said it already. This asking people for money and buying whatever they want. It's already a format that's been done before.
It's a-
right? In
okay.
that Singapore is not done before. First to do in Singapore. Novelty is one key factor for virality. Right, novelty in a specific country works. So even though it's not novel in other countries, if it's novel in Singapore, it's gonna work. Okay? Okay. Visual hook. Very important. When you design content, you need a visual, textual, and verbal hook, and audio hook. Four hooks. Combination of all four. Look at this frame over here. There's all, I don't know what sound in the background. That one is not even by me. It's just some random sound. So that was the thing. I was walking towards her. When you walk towards someone, there's anticipation. There is like an open loop of, oh, why is this guy approaching a mate? Right? Or a helper. So you see she's sitting now over there. There's a texture hook that says asking a helper for money and buying anything she wants. So now there's open loops created in your mind. And this brings me to content psychology. Content psychology is very basic. I don't care what content format you use. It's just two things. Creating open loops and closing it through payoffs. And you do it multiple times through the video. That is retention. Retention is retention. So you create tension multiple times through open and closed loops. That is what you get engagement. Okay, so watch this. Okay, no dead space are very important. Now we have a lot of incredibly ginormous dead spaces. You have to cut dead space out. Look at the captions here. It's horrible. It's too fat. It's too big. It's blocking the screen. That's how I started out with a broken iPhone. So you don't need to be perfect to start. Okay, good content can carry a bad edit.
That's enough. Thank you. We're actually like a video because you're nice to us. We want to buy you something in the shopping mall.
Okay, so this is the first payoff, right? Within 10 seconds, there's already a payoff. Don't cut the chase. I get it. She gives me the money. I'm gonna buy her something. Now people are wondering, oh, interesting, right? What is she gonna buy? So they have to stay to watch it. Okay.
Just pick anything you want.
So in this short period, you already open a hook, close that hook,
You create a
and
new one.
open a new loop.
Yeah. Okay. Just buy anything you want. That showcases my generosity. So like that's part of the narrative, right? And then she laughs at it. So there's human connection. This is what I intentionally included, by the way, because the American ones are very fast-paced. I intentionally wanted to humanize a profile that is otherwise discriminated or not really cared about. Look at the migrant workers. Look at the most viral videos that everyone do. Right? It's migrant workers. It's people who have like interest. Like recently, Waston also did one where he gave to the tissue paper auntie. That also went very viral, one. But you can argue that the profiles chosen are very, very intentional. Yeah, but whether that is for, I like to believe that all of them do it from the heart lah. Okay, so let's not go into that.
Do you want to give
To me, why you drink? We go to Tampines Mall.
Okay, so just a little bit of like banter here and there.
No makeup. Clothes.
You can see there's a lot of dead space here. 0.20 seconds dead space. I'm very ruthless with dead space cuts. If I were to re-edit this video, all this dead space will be cut. Yeah.
Can
Okay, one establishing shot, right? Not establishing shot. Your transition shots need to be fast. Don't drag it out for 3 seconds. 1 second is all people need to know that you're going to Uniqlo. Okay.
Son, you sure?
Why don't you?
Why don't you take two lah? Take two.
Okay. So I tell her to take more. Take 3.
What's your playbook?
Okay. This one again very intentional. I asked her what her favorite code is. I talk to her as a human being. I don't treat her like an object where I'm just giving you money and you're part of my video. I humanize it. So this part was actually to me quite crucial also.
Why
Because
can't I? My mother passed away when I was 4 years old. My father passed away when I was 21 years old. It's really difficult if you don't have a parents, because if you have problems, if nobody will listen to you, you must treasure. If still alive, you must treasure.
yeah. So there's a message behind that's emotional as well that people can relate to. Yeah. And sometimes when I watch these videos, I get a bit emotional as well, because people see my bold side obviously, but what people don't realize is that every single one of these videos are a piece of my heart. Yeah, they're little pieces of my heart, and when I look back at them, they're essentially my soul. I'm looking directly back at myself, you know, and perhaps that's also one secret to content. Also, you gotta do it with your heart. If you're doing it like as a chore, and then there's no emotion and energy in your voice, it's very hard to persuade people.
Share them.
It's for you.
Thank you so much.
Because you're so nice, we can use something else.
Okay, so there's I open another loop here, and then if you look at the rest of the video, it's just me buying her stuff, buying her another necklace, talking about her faith, and I also asked the question, right? I asked the question, oh, nobody has bought you anything in 16 years you're here. She said, oh, nobody. Also, that was like quite shocking. But then it shows the reality of the underappreciation that helpers have. Or in general, people have in Singapore, because we're not used to appreciating people. Like Joshua said, like, oh, maybe that's the first one to pass a nice card. But to me, that was normal. Like to me, like, okay, again, I'll lead to one story to illustrate the point. When I was in my probably 22, 23, in my early stages of my MBA career, I walked into Peace Center. Okay, at one times we had car-like gatherings, right? Everyone was there listening to our mentors at 2 a.m. we finish.
Huh?
Yeah, it's very common. It's very common. We're brainwashed. Oh, I tell you something. Oh my goodness. I would attribute some of my messianic like conviction in a way like to that. Because that was the true like, I tell you man, you take that energy and I take anybody out of there, I can build a 7-figure business. Like, easily. But going back to that, so
it is very similar to the Mormons kind of training.
Yeah, of course.
Where you keep taking rejection, but that training makes you very good at what you do.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're right. So it's like you need to have that because it's a sales mark, right? I need to tell them, oh, this is the only way, you know, don't worry about it. Face rejection and go again. Men were machines. we were machines. Looking back at it, right, my goodness, man, I went back at 2, 3 and wake up the next morning, go for my class, because back then I was in university, right? I was in NTU. So I go all the way back to NTU. And then I wake up in the morning, go to class, yeah, but anyway, and then I tell myself, then my mentor will say, Kevin, you don't die from the lack of sleep, you die from the lack of dreams. I was like, yes! That's me! Every morning I wake up, I'm bargaining life for a penny, but life will pay no more, blah, blah, blah. I just repeat. I'm sincere, authentic, honest, loving, and kind. I'm a sexy, charismatic sales machine. Every single day I'm closing people. Every single day I'm sponsoring people. I speak it. But you see, right, funny enough, right, you adopt this principles and now it actually applies to traditional. But sorry, going back to that, some of the principles that I learned there, right? One of my mentor was a very wise guy. He's no longer there anymore. He was the first one that showed me the pen. Very wise, bulky individual. Let's call him H. He was an engineer. He couldn't speak very well. Couldn't speak articulately very well, but he was very wise and philosophical. Nothing could bother him. Right? He was just a stoic man. Very neutral. And so remember after that thing, we all left, right? A lot of people left, and the chairs were strewn everywhere. So imagine like chairs everywhere in a broad coffee shop. And I was about to leave, right? He scolded me. Usually he's very, very gentle. He scolded me. He said, Kevin, what the fuck is this? He said, look at this. He said something that until today, right, I'll never forget. He said, you always leave a place better than when you first left it. When you first came. Always leave a place better when you first came. And it applies to people as well. Then I tuck in on the chair, and then from there I always remember. Like anywhere I go, even I'm going on a podcast and I'm the guest, I would still bring like a small gift for them. Or maybe even like a sunflower, they just put in their space. And the more personalized it is, the better. Yeah, and you'll be amazed because like no one in Singapore does it. So it makes you stand out. But actually it's the most normal thing to do. Is it not normal to show gratitude and appreciation in this short life? Yeah.
It's quite incredible because like remember that episode with Gabriel? He also came from MLM type of company.
Yeah.
And something incredible is the whole company went down, but he was saying that everybody that came out of the company was all building 7 to 8 figure businesses after that. And what you're saying is also kind of similar because back then when we were in more conventional Singapore system, right? In our heads, the best first jobs are investment bankers or consultants.
If you're not technical,
If you're not technical, because it trains tenacity. Whether you are a PowerPoint monkey or whatsoever, right? You're being forced to work long hours, grueling hours, and be trained that this is norm. But I think what's incredible now is I'm hearing another industry that not too bad to be a first job. Because the type of thing that it kind of trains you to do, kind of positions you, it might not be the right industry to apply the skills to.
It's a very good training ground.
Yeah, but when you come out of it, it seems like it's very applicable skills to a lot of different things that you want to do.
There's one thing that...
But the key difference here is one is way higher status and one is society outcast.
The vermin of society.
Yeah,
but because we're the vermin of society, right, our skin is obnoxiously thick. And that's partially why I could do RK also. Because comparatively to these comments, right, there's nothing. There's nothing for like the years that I faced being discriminated and like people saying that it's shit. That I'm doing a shit job. Like my co-founder behind the screen, right? He was my downline. He was in it for 3 years or so. He didn't make anything. He didn't make a single cent. But when I built a business with him, we are so alive. We are so in sync over culture. We are so in sync over how to work with people. Because that taught us the second skill set, which is really important. It is how to, I shouldn't use the word manipulate, how to persuade people to join your cause and keep them satisfied. And Stephen Bartlett said, 90% of business problems can be solved with good people. So that's the same key thing that a multi-level, I can't say multi-level, illegal, direct sales company they will do. Okay? You make scheme illegal, okay? You think it's illegal? Take out my IC, send me to jail. 200K. That time we were so defensive about it.
When I was in school, I did direct choice questions. Maybe let's ask a ending question. Yeah? Okay, Kevin, so with everything you've learned from creating content,
sneezing,
manipulating people, persuading people, right? Viral hooks, open loops. If money is not a constraint today. If you had $5 million today but zero audience, how would you build the biggest content, the biggest
I have
audience
5
from
million
scratch?
today, but
Yeah.
zero audience.
Mm.
That's a horrible place to be in. You know why? Because I think in content, when you have money, you waste it. I think one of the best things about content is that it's an even playing field. Everybody starts off with 0 followers, and everybody, what they have is just a heart and a dream, and a broken iPhone, which is how I started out.
Mm.
And I think my advice to you guys starting out is that you really do not need to have like budget or have like fancy equipment or even good technicals to start out. You just really have to, first of all, have a clear purpose and a heart behind it, and know what outcomes you're going in for. To inspire, to serve, to get out of your comfort zone, whatever that is, right? And then I'll take that budget and I'll give it to charity.
So budget is
5
not
million.
your bottleneck for making this bigger. Because take Mr. Beast, for example, he talks about how he started small and then he kept rolling the money that allowed him to do bigger and bigger and bigger production. I'm wondering what is the equivalent for you. You've had all the money in the world. Not 5 million is not all the money in the world, but money. How would you use that to really blow
The
this up?
truth of the matter is I have no idea. And I wish I could sit down here and give you a politically correct answer, but that's not me. As you know from the rest of the podcast, I have absolutely no idea. And the thing is that if you give me a 5 million, I would actually give it to charity. Or I would say, or if I really had to use it, I would sit down and I talk to mentors about this.
Right.
I thought of people that knows how to allocate budget like that, and I put a very strategic plan that is both based around a bit of radicalness, but a bit of groundedness as well.
Right.
Yeah. And my best bet I can tell you is probably in, man, I can't even tell you, man.
Yeah. So I think what you're saying is you have not really thought about how capital can help you to unlock the next level
Yeah, and-
or what that next phase looks like. Which
Yeah.
is probably a good lesson for a lot of business owners out there. Because a lot of times people come to me and they say, hey, can you invest in my company?
Yeah.
Their constraint is not capital.
Yeah.
A lot of times their constraint is trying to figure out like a good enough system to acquire customers,
Yeah.
which then they no longer need any investments, right? Or
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form around those things that they kind of
Yeah.
need to solve for. This is what Elon Musk freaking talked about like 100 times in the podcast recently.
Solving for-
Limiting factor.
Oh yeah.
So
solving for the next limiting factor.
whatever that you're thinking about on trying to scale, whether it's content, whether it's your
Yeah.
business, you need to figure out at this point in time what is your limiting factor and throw your whole weight behind solving that limiting
I
factor.
love that. That's
right?
amazing.
Because that is trying to essentially tell you to prioritize better. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's to be able to throw your whole weight behind is being able to say no to everything else
Yeah.
that is no longer
Sure.
important.
And here's the difficult
And
part.
can I-
The difficult part with tackling only the bottleneck, it means that you need to be willing to let other shit burn.
yes.
That's the hardest.
That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there'll be a lot of things that grabs your attention.
Yeah.
You know, someone crying in the office,
Yeah.
someone complaining about their pay not enough, sales problem. But you need everything wants to grab your attention, but the difficult part is saying no to all of that and letting those things burn and only tackle the most pressing one.
One last analogy, and turning back to you, right, is that if you have a sink that's broken, for example, and like you suddenly someone comes in, a worksman come in, he looks around the house, he fiddles around the stuff, he fingers some stuff, eventually he takes out his hammer, he hits something, and say, okay, that'll be $1,000, and then you get upset, huh? You mean you charge me $1,000 just to do one action? And then obviously the guy says, no, you paid me to know what to knock, right? The years of experience to know what to knock.
Yeah.
And I would turn it around and say that you guys, both of you, I like those people, and I have deep gratitude for both of you. Like from the bottom of my heart, I really, really appreciate it because first of all, I know that there is trade-offs to being associated with me because of my brand and things like that, you know, and the fact that you allow me into your home.
Really, man, I feel like I got more popular girls. I'm like, hey, do you know I know Kevin?
Bro, depending on the demographics that you put on, right?
Different demographics are.
18 to 24.
Yeah.
How you know Kevin?
Yeah. But yeah. Why are you talking to young girls? I didn't even know.
He assumed I'm talking to young girls.
Going back to that, right? I mean, he invited me to his home, and you're so abundant with it all the time. Even the event that we're gonna do, you've been very abundant to me, and I think people don't realize how difficult it is to have access to abundant people in Singapore. First of all, no less, but also the fact that you guys have grown company to 20 million and exited for an 8-figure amount is no small feat. You all downplay it a lot Obviously, you're like, hey, I'm just a regular person, which is a huge part of your draw. But the reality is that, man, I cannot imagine, man. It takes a high level of expertise to do that. And even if someone pays, like I pay my mentor like 30K, even if I pay him 30K for 1 hour, people might think it's mad. People might think it's mad. But in that 1 hour from the experience, right, you tell me what limiting factor to remove and work on, that can make me 100K. You know?
Yeah.
And so that's something I hope people to see. Of course, don't use that philosophy and get sold by MLM or get scammed, but these guys are great people, and Second Surface is something that they're building. If you've watched it, that means they're probably invested to a certain degree. You can check it out, and there's a qualification process as well. But yeah,
Final question on this, especially on content, right? You give your philosophy, your framework, your ideas, right? Everything you know to someone who wants to get started with content to be a creator.
yeah, business creator or creator, influencer, different. If you just want to be influencer, different model, different playbook.
Let's say it's a create. Let's say it's a business creator,
Okay.
right? Why still wouldn't they succeed? What would still block them from
Well, that's easy.
getting the
That's
success that you
That's a
have?
very easy question to answer, right? The founder of Amway, the largest direct sales company in the world for years, 60 over years, we reached the boss. He passed away already. When Amway was still climbing up the first one, right? Someone came to him in the airport and said, "Look, I want to buy away a company." Okay, he paid me a large sum of money. He said Amway is not for sale. He insisted. He said, "You know what? This is how I built Amway. Like, go take all my blueprints and go and build your own direct sales company. And it doesn't matter to me. I'm an abundant guy, right?" So he gave me everything. So this guy took it and tried to build his own company. He failed terribly. And then after a couple of years later, they met again at some event or whatever. And then he went and the boss went up to this guy and said, "Hey, how's your company doing? I gave you all my stuff." And the guy said that, "Don't do this to me. I know you're trying to instigate me. I know you're trying to like put me down in a roundabout way. But the truth of the matter is that Rich Boss had no idea what happened to him. Then he realized this. He can give you all the blueprints. But what you cannot give is heart. What you cannot give is culture. And I think that is the key thing that distinguishes between people who take my blueprints or whoever's blueprints and succeeds versus someone that just uses it as fodder or uses it as some random piece of paper. And I would argue also that to ignite that radical edge and to tap into your potential, that's where a consultant or a coach comes in. And that's where I come in. Because I live and breathe this. Like I live and breathe for myself, and my presence inspires others to do the same for themselves. And by doing that, they also inspire other people to do the same. And that's a nice conclusion to this podcast. At the end of the day, why am I doing all this? It's because of these two reasons, right? My tattoo here is love, and over here is resiliency. It's a phoenix, represents rising from the ashes. It's to ignite the human spirit to love and to overcome. At the end of the day, everything that I do is just to make money and to give it away. And to make every single cent of it.
Thank you, Kevin. I think through this journey of like getting to know you, one beautiful part is to have somebody to come out to truly be who you are. It is honestly not something that is easy. And to be able to publicly recognize that this is who I truly am, I'm pretty sure underneath everything, you still feel it, right? You still feel why don't people get my perspectives? And for you to continue pursuing this for such a long period of time is truly admirable. Like, I don't think even us, like whatever positions that we are at, like trying to just genuinely be yourself is very hard. So like for that, like we really thank you. Yeah. And for just doing radical kindness alone, the way I like to think about it is the world a better place with or without the video, right? And for most kindness videos, whatever controversies that are attached to it, my perspective is the videos, it makes the world a better place, and we genuinely respect you for that. So
And for me, what is inspiring about you is that you show a different way, right? What he says about just being yourself. There's a lot of things that we say in group chats that we wouldn't show the world. But you're like, fuck it, if I believe it, I can tell anyone. Right? And I think there's something admirable about that, right? Because you're telling people that, hey, it's okay to be the extreme version. And I think the society not everyone can be extreme, but society is moved by outliers. It's moved by people who are crazy, who are like at the 0.01% of belief of autism, of obsession, right?
Yeah.
And you belong to that kind of people who at least
Not,
in a belief in telling
Yeah.
people what can be done differently
Appreciate it.
moves
Yeah.
move society forward.
not there yet though. I feel like maybe 0. No, I'm not radical enough. I genuinely think I'm not radical enough, but that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that said, I'm not deflecting the compliment. I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, man, I love and appreciate both of you.
Yeah.
All right, take care, my man.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
And
pod.
that's the pod.
you.
And that's the pod.
Thanks. 7 March. Please sign up now.